I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a sour cream pound cake in the air fryer, and I'm going to be using the air fryer by calmdo. You'll find our ingredients throughout the video in the description box. So I have here in a bowl 1.5 cups of cake flour that I sifted 3 times. And I'm going to have a half a teaspoon of baking powder. I'm going to whisk those ingredients together. If you're going to be using unsalted butter, you will add 1/4 teaspoon of salt to this flour. But if you're using salted butter, then just omit the salt. In the bottom of my stand mixer, I have a half a cup of salted butter that is at room temperature. I have 1 cup of flour. 1 cup of sugar, I'm sorry. And we are going to cream the butter and sugar together. We're going to cream it together for about 8 minutes. I'm going to start on low speed and increase it to medium once all that sugar is dissolved. And you're going to scrape the bowl down halfway between the mixing process. So I have 3 farm fresh eggs that I got from my friend Claire. She has a farm. She has wonderful eggs to bake with. They're at room temperature. So I'm going to add the eggs one at a time. I'm going to beat it for about 30 to 45 seconds after each addition. So you're going to repeat this process until you have all the eggs added. Do not rush adding the eggs. So it's really important that you scrape your bowl in between adding the eggs. That way all the sugar granules are being coated properly. So I have all the eggs added to the butter and sugar. So now I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I'm using Bobba Gran's, and this is pure Mexican vanilla flavoring, and it is alcohol free. To learn more about Bobba Gran's, check the description box. So I'm going to add my vanilla, and if you guys are wondering what mixer that I'm using, this is the Geek Chef stand mixer, and I'll put the link to that as well as in the description box. So after adding the vanilla, I'm just going to give everything a mix. So after adding the vanilla, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add half of our flour. And this is the flour that we put the baking powder and salt in if you're using unsalted butter. And remember, so we're adding half of the flour. I'm just going to mix until everything is dissolved. So after adding half of the flour, we're going to add half a cup of sour cream, and we're going to add all the sour cream at one time. And you always want to start with your dry ingredients and end with your dry ingredients when you're baking. This keeps the batter from getting weighed down too much. So now I'm going to just mix until everything is combined. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and make sure you ring the notification bell and select all notifications to be notified of my uploads. So I'm going to stop the machine. I'm going to give it a scrape just to kind of get some of that flour and that had spattered to the top of the bowl here. So now I'm adding the remaining flour. And after adding the remaining flour, we're going to mix until everything is dissolved. Okay, so after everything is combined, you just want to mix it until the flour is dissolved. And I'm just going to give everything one more scrape just to make sure there aren't any flour in the bottom of my bowl here that did not mix properly. So I'm just scraping really good. So now I'm going to remove everything off the machine. So this is my 8 by 4.5 inch, I believe, loaf pan. I'll post the specifics in the description box. So I'm just going to pour my batter into this pan. And this is enough to make 1 loaf. Now the worst thing you can do when you're baking a cake is to tap the pan, because you don't want to knock all that air out that we worked so hard to accomplish in the beginning when we did the creaming. So instead of tapping the pan, I'm just going to use my rubber spatula to just manipulate the batter to sort of make it even in the pan. So don't tap it. Okay, so this is the air fryer by calmdo. So I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to hit the menu button, and I'm just going to change it onto cake. And then I'm going to hit the time, and I'm going to change it to 30 minutes. So this is at 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if you're using a different type of air fryer and your lowest temperature is 330 or 335, that's the ideal temp, or 325. So I'm going to just place this inside my air fryer and just going to let it go. So we're going to let this go for about 35 minutes, maybe about an hour, but I'll let you know how long it took. So my cake, it took a total of 52 minutes at 320 degrees Fahrenheit. And I let the cake completely cool in the pan. So now I'm going to go ahead and flip it out. It should come out with no problem. I did butter the pan and flour the pan. So, look at that. Beautiful light golden bottom. So now I'm going to just do a glaze on top. Now I have a recipe on how to make a homemade glaze. Just check the description box. Now if you don't want to fuss around with making a glaze and you have some frosting, store-bought frosting on hand, you can just melt this in the microwave at 15-second intervals and just continue to stir until it's at the desired consistency. So I'm just going to pour in a little bit of my Mexican vanilla, like a 1/4 teaspoon. Just gonna mix it in, and then I have my cake here on a rack, sitting on top of my Tupperware lid that has a saran wrap on top. This just makes it easier to clean up. So I'm just gonna take my spoon, and I am just going to drizzle it all across the top of the cake. Okay, so I'm gonna let this sit for about 20 minutes or so, and this will harden up. Now, if your room is warm, you do want to move it to a cooler place, so that way it does harden up. So I've sliced into my cake, and I just want you guys to look at the bottom. The bottom of it came out so perfect. Look at that beautiful crumb. And this is the sides, and of course the top where we put the glaze on. So I'm going to go ahead and cut into this. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And also please support me by leaving a comment down below. Look at that beautiful crumb. That is such a beautiful crumb. It's not too dense, but it's not too light. I just love that musk and vanilla. The flavor of it is out of this world. The crumb, the cake is very tender. The air fryer oven did an excellent job baking this cake. Please try this recipe, add it to your playlist, and please remember to live and be well. Let's come together and love each other. Thank you so much for watching.